I now have the pleasure of introducing Emily Fisher of the Edison Electric Institute. Thank you so much.
Yeah, at least one singer here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Emily, welcome. Emily Sanford Fisher is General Counsel and Corporate Secretary for the Edison Electric Institute in Washington, D.C., or EEI. EEI is the trade association that represents all domestic investor-owned electric utilities. Her primary responsibilities include federal and state energy and environmental regulation, with a focus on distributed and renewable resources, clean energy, air quality, climate change, and energy efficiency. Prior to joining EEI in 2008, Emily was a Foreign Service Officer with the U.S. Department of State. Emily, welcome.
Thank you. I think this is on. Is it on? Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you. Can you hear me? I'm really loud. Okay, there we go. Hi. Good afternoon. Thank you, Molly, and thank you to Senator Carper and the Moms Clean Air Force for inviting me to participate in this briefing today. As she said, my name is Emily Fisher, and I work for the Edison Electric Institute, and we are the trade association that represents all of the nation's investor-owned electric companies, many of which own and operate the coal and oil-fired electric generating units that are subject to the Mercury and neurotoxic standards, and as the Senator told us, lovingly known as MATS. As a lawyer who specializes in regulatory things, I could speak entire sentences and acronyms, but I'm going to try really hard not to do that, but I am going to say MATS a bunch. While this is a serious subject, I have to say that I feel a little bit like I'm on Sesame Street in this skit about the one kid who is doing her own thing, the one that doesn't belong. You may all be having that same thought because I represent regulated industry. I do think that I belong here today, however, because I am going to talk about why the regulated industry is not supportive of EPA action that could undermine MATS. We would encourage and have encouraged EPA not to revise the appropriate and necessary determination that serves as the regulatory predicate for MATS. While EPA has said that the agency can take another look at this determination while leaving the standards themselves in place, we think this is too hard of a legal needle to thread and too legally risky. Before talking more about why the owners and operators of the nation's fossil-based generating fleet think MATS should be left in place, I want to talk a little bit about how we got here and the clean energy transition underway in the electric power sector. When MATS was first proposed in 2011, EEI and its members engaged in the notice and comment rulemaking process. And in retrospect, the word engaged is a little bit of a euphemism. This is what I did in 2011, and we spent a lot of time talking to them about how important it is for us to ensure that we provide affordable and reliable power to our members and to our customers. We raised a lot of concerns with EPA about MATS as it had been proposed. We talked a lot about affordability and a lot about reliability. And when it was finalized in 2010, MATS reflected many of the concerns that we raised. Most importantly, EPA had worked with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the entity charged with ensuring reliability of the nation's power supply, to create a mechanism that would allow for longer compliance for electric generating units that were critical to reliability. And with this mechanism, MATS provided regulated units 3 to 4 years for compliance. As the Senator said, we asked for some flexibility and some time. And so that meant until 2015 or 2016. So that means here in 2019, more than 99% of the industry is now in compliance with MATS, and has been for several years. A range of strategies were used to come into compliance. Some units installed new controls like scrubbers or activated carbon injection, which at the time was a fairly new technology for us. Some units moved to different ranks of coal, and about a third of the coal-fired electric generating fleet was retired. MATS coincided with the start of the electric sector's clean energy transition. Because of MATS and other factors, including the low price of natural gas, dramatic decreases in the cost of renewable energy, federal and state policies, and customer demands for cleaner energy, emissions of mercury and other air pollutants have been dramatically reduced. As of the end of 2017, the last year for which we have complete data, mercury emissions in the power sector have been reduced by 90% over 1990 levels. NOx emissions are down 84% over the same time period. SO2 emissions are down 92%. And importantly, carbon dioxide emissions are 28% below 2005 levels. These are not things that we would have anticipated in 2007 and 2008 when we got more than half of our electricity from coal. We are proud of these reductions, and what they mean for cleaner air in the communities we serve and live in. And we fully anticipate that this emissions trajectory will continue. So why are we concerned about the efforts that could undermine MATS? Well, the industry spent $18 billion to comply. That's capital costs. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how electric companies set rates, usually not a really exciting topic for people. But it is important in this context because our customers have paid and will continue to pay for this compliance. That's how it works. Electricity rate reviews are conducted at the state level by public utility commissions. And when setting the retail price for electricity, the amount you pay in your bill, they consider the electric company's costs, which include the cost of compliance with environmental requirements. Because these costs can be very large, like I said, $18 billion is not a small amount of money. These costs tend to be spread out over many years, sometimes as many as 20, 30, or even 40, to avoid rate shock and to ensure some amount of generational equity. And so we have just started recovering these costs and anticipate that it will take us some time in the future to fully recover them. We are very concerned that we will lose our ability to recover these costs and rates if MATS is no longer in place. Rate reviews are contentious proceedings, and we expect and have seen that challenges to cost recovery for environmental controls will occur, both from environmental groups and from large commercial and industrial customers. They both have different objectives, but the result is likely to be the same. We have already seen this happen, and many groups have told us that if MATS goes away, this is what they will do. They will enter these rate reviews and seek to have these costs disallowed, both the capital costs we've already spent and the O&M that we spend on an annual basis to keep them running. So it's 2019, and it's really hard for us to have EPA look at costs without acknowledging that we spent $18 billion and that these costs are still being recovered from our customers. We note that we closed units in response to MATS, and that changing MATS won't change this. In fact, about another third of the coal fleet is slated to retire by around 2022. This is the course that our industry is on. And turning off controls is not an attractive option, even if we lose cost recovery for them, because we often use these controls to address multiple pollutants or to comply with state level requirements. And as I said, it is very difficult to live and work in communities and tell them that you are shutting off controls. Regulated industries always say that they prefer regulatory certainty. It's kind of an annoying thing that we're required to do, but it's true. Reviewing the appropriate and necessary determination undermines regulatory certainty and the billions of dollars invested to reduce emissions and to comply with MATS. In July, in anticipation of EPA's action, EEI and other electricity trade groups, along with our labor partners and a group of others, asked EPA not to review the appropriate and necessary determination. We think it would make more sense for EPA to engage in a risk and technology review, which is required by the Clean Air Act by 2020. This would allow us to have an opportunity to look at where we've come and where we need to go. We understand that EPA may have some concerns about how co-benefits and costs are addressed in environmental rulemakings. Legitimate debate about this topic could be appropriate in the context of a generic forward-looking rule with general applicability, not in the context of an electric sector-specific rule that threatens to undermine MATS, standards with which we have already complied. Thank you.